Welcome back. This is Billy with Coach Dooley's List. And once again, if you are enjoying these coaching interviews, then please like and subscribe to the YouTube page and follow along on all of our social media platforms. Today I'm here with Richard Ramsey from Flowery Branch High School. And today's episode is brought to you by online donations. If you are still in need of fundraising or you'd like to learn more about the platform, please find the information at the bottom of the screen here, and we will get in touch and tell you how we can help you out. Coach Ramsey, I do appreciate you, sir.
It's great to see you, Billy.
Great to see you, sir. It's been many years since the Collins Hill days.
Good times, good times.
Yes, and so we've been reminiscing for a little bit, but we always start, just tell everybody a little bit about your coaching journey and how you ended up here at Flowery Branch.
98, did some student teaching at Collins Hill under the great Jim Tiller, and got to coach some football, and got a job there coaching football and running and coaching track. I didn't know anything about track and field, but Mr. Krug said he needed a track coach, so John Arnold took me under his wing, and I learned to be a track coach 1 year at a time. I loved the football aspect. I loved those kids. I loved Coach Farron, Coach Sherrill, and all the great coaches that we had. I had my second son around 2004, and I was like, football's it's not for me. And obviously I needed another job, coaching-wise, being a PE guy. So my buddy Andrew Hudson was the cross-country coach, and I said, hey, I don't know anything about cross-country. I said, I barely know anything about track. I said, but I know weight room. I said, can I be your strength coach for your cross-country team? And he was like, absolutely. So Coach Hudson and I got together in 2004. That lasted about 10 more years at Collins Hill. Obviously, you know, we had some incredible athletes and some incredible success. So Coach Hudson and I are great friends, and we had a blast, and I was there till about 2014, 2015. I moved over to Flowery Branch. Our family lives here. My wife works here. My kids were coming here. My other good friend, Jimmy Sorrells, was the head coach at Flowery Branch. I got to work with him for 4 years over at the other building, and then we moved back to this building, and I have been the head cross-country and track coach, boys and girls, for the last 7 years.
That's awesome. And I did not realize that. I didn't know. I knew you were a football guy, football background. You played for some good ones, I think, in high school.
Yes.
And, you know, our days over there were always fun. It was such a great place. And, you know, like you said, some athletes. I will bring up a quick story. Do you remember when we had a young lady named Courtney Champion?
I do.
And, yeah, her first time she had, I think, torn her ACL.
Yep.
And the first day back, I think she was cleared, and she was playing powder puff football, and she slipped, and that was frightening. And I wasn't even a track coach. I was like, we're going to get fired. She was trying to go to Tennessee, right?
She did.
She went to Tennessee.
Full ride to Tennessee.
Yeah.
SEC champion.
So, I didn't realize that. Getting in, that's really cool. Yeah. So, you know, in your years at Collins Hill, learning to be a track coach and a cross-country coach, and now being here, you know, I know you kind of formulate your ideas about what your program to be known for. So what do you want track and cross country and Flowery Branch
that is
to be known for?
Such a loaded question. I have had a couple of conversations with younger coaches, and I can honestly tell you that my philosophy has changed. I know it changes when I became a father. I know it changed when I be able to coach my own kids. It just changed. The win at all cost, or the win is the priority. The defining success by winning has to change. When you think about success, I love SEC football, but there's only going to be one team that wins the SEC. Does that mean the other 16 teams were failures? So thinking that way, and I was like, yes, we did have some success at those programs, but is that what we're defining as success? Is national championship or nothing, or state championship or nothing? I said, that's not realistic. These athletes are going to run out. There's not going to be a collegiate supply of athletes that just come through there. So as I got more and more involved in coaching, I realized that it was more about the people. It was more about the relationships. It was more about surrounding yourself with great coaches, the work ethic, being dependable, being reliable, just teaching them life lessons, because majority of the athletes that we teach in high school won't make $1 doing this.
Right.
But I'm hoping that the tools that we supply them with, working with people they don't like, showing up on time, giving 100% effort. I hope that that's what my teams are known for. I would like for opposing coaches to think, I thought that kid graduated. and them just be stronger as they get older in our program.
Right.
Cross country is one of those weird sports where sometimes their best success is early. They haven't hit puberty. They're only carrying around 80 or 100 pounds, and then all of a sudden life happens. I want them to be as strong as they were as juniors and seniors as they can be. And so that involves core work. That involves weight room. That involves diet. That involves so much more than just mile repeats or whatever magic track workout that's new and hip. So that's what I want my program to be known as. I want them to be about team first. We never leave a person on the course, no matter how fast or how slow they are. We always stay around for our JV kids. You're not going to have 15,000 people show up at a cross-country meet. Pretty much the only people there are your parents and your teammates.
Yeah.
We need to be able to depend on those folks to be there for each other, especially on a tough course. So.
No, and I love that. Now, this wasn't the question that I sent you, but roughly, and say on average, how many kids do you have on a cross country team each year, and then on track? I mean, track sometimes around 100, but how many kids about on average each year?
Cross country stays around 30 to 50, especially nowadays because there's so many more opportunities for kids to be a part of. We've added flag football, volleyball is taken through the roof. There's so many things in the fall, and then track easily can be 80 to 100, 120 kids.
So you run through a lot of athletes, and I know you've got some stories, and you can tell as many as you want. But what's just one of your fond or favorite coaching stories from over the years?
One of my favorite that I tell a lot is a little bit after our success run, around 2012, we had a young lady that ran, and she was just okay. I think Coach Hudson and I used to call them shining lights, which meant basically they were going to get better every year, but they really weren't ever going to help us as a team. They weren't going to be in the top 7. They weren't going to score points.
Program kids.
Correct. Yep. So she was in the back doing a workout, and, her pace was like, 8-minute mile pace, which for the average adult, that's pretty good. But for the average 16, 17-year-old kid, we need a little faster than 8-minute mile pace. And she did that for an entire year, and she was in the 27s and the 26s for 5K, which once again isn't awful, but it's not where we need you to be if you're a varsity girl runner.
Right.
Sometime around her sophomore year, she started running faster, like at workouts, and she would put herself in the front of the group, and she was running with kids that were running 7, 8, 9 minutes faster than her than an overall 5K. We didn't say anything. We just kind of let it happen. We're like, well, maybe she's racing the workouts. Because unfortunately in workouts, you have kids that run too fast. I know that sounds weird, but it's not a true pace for their 5K.
Right.
Especially on things like an 800 or something that's a shorter distance. Well, that gives them a false sense of where they are. So we were like, Lacey, why? And she's like, Coach, I got tired of running in the back. From that moment forward, she ran the next 3 years of varsity cross country, varsity track, took a full ride to UNG Dahlonega, and ran collegiate cross country for a couple of years. You would know her older sister as Ellenberg. This was the younger Ellenberg. This is Lacey Ellenberg.
Really?
And that's one of my favorite stories to tell because it literally, to her, it was as simple as a mindset. She just changed her mindset. It wasn't anything I said. It wasn't anything Coach Hudson said. It wasn't anything magical. It wasn't anything the kid said. It was she got tired of running the workouts in the back. And I've shared that story. That was 2015, 2014. I've shared that story easily for the next 11 years.
That's cool, and it always makes me think of her sister. And I tell you, anytime somebody brings somebody up, Lindsay, if you're watching this, if you text me after this is posted, I'll come take you lunch. But again, that was a competitive family. Her sister went on to play college softball.
Absolutely.
And I've got some Ellenberg stories. Actually, now Lindsay Godwin. That's another cool one. Is me and Leslie actually got to go to her wedding, which is always one of the cool things from being a coach. That's really, really cool. So, in watching kids like that. And then, we talked before getting on here just about, how many years, you got a couple years left until you can retire and those kind of things. But if somebody came to you today with all your knowledge and all the years you've done, coaching and said, Coach Ramsey, I want to be a head coach. Give me any sport. Okay, I want to be a head coach. What piece of advice would you give them?
First of all, don't be afraid. Do it. the relationships you're going to create with your athletes are greater than anything else. Even if you don't coach, be involved in a club, be involved in an organization. Outside of teaching, you get to know your kids so much different. Yes, in a competitive environment, you get to challenge them, you get to test them, you get to see them in possibly something they love, unlike a math class or an English class. You get to see them in something that they're choosing to be a part of. Absolutely do it. Do not be afraid of it. No, you will never make enough money to compensate for the hours that you do. It's not about the money. It's never been about the money. Can't be about the money. Define your success based on individual growth and progressions, not wins and losses. You'll continue to chase the wins and losses. One of the saddest stories, and I love him because I think he was a phenomenal coach, but Nick Saban said one of the years after he won multiple national titles, the day after, he was already back on to the next year. He never even got to enjoy that prize. And if that's the one prize that we're searching, then that's lonely because, first of all, it doesn't happen all the time. Second of all, even when it does happen, you're telling me you can't even enjoy it because you're worried about the next year. So surround yourself with great people. The coaches that I have been able to be around, I could name them for hours. The Hudsons, the Hoffmans, they've just been Sorrells. They've been phenomenal human beings. You're going to spend a lot of time with those adults. Make sure that they have the same values that you do.
Yes.
But absolutely, if someone wanted to be a head coach, wanted to be a coach in general, it's the greatest joy ever. I've gotten to go to weddings. I've gotten to go to births. Unfortunately, I've gone to funerals. I've been a part of these kids' lives. Some of these kids are still a part of my life now. They graduated 01, 02, 03, and they have families, and they're coaching, and they're living life, and there's not anything greater. I have to share this. One of our dear runners has put together a reunion for Coach Hudson and I, which is next weekend.
Okay.
I am have chills. I am so excited to see these people that I haven't seen, literally other than Facebook or Instagram, probably for now going on 20 years. And I can't wait. And so I appreciate Nikki Akande greatly. She has organized it all.
Yes.
She's
Phenomenal
organized
young
the whole,
lady.
yeah, she has organized it all. She's a big dog. She and her husband are lawyers up in the Philadelphia area.
And she's planning it all.
Uh-huh. And so she planned it for Hudson and I and Hoffman and we're Groshek. We're thrilled to have everybody and we're excited.
Wasn't that so cool though? And like I said, when you get in young, and then, when I started 23, so, the kids are, 5, 6 years younger.
Correct.
And I didn't get married until a little bit later.
Right.
I was having play dates. When I told you I hate that term. But when I have, my kids are younger than some of my former players' kids. And so, getting them together and like you said, having that relationship,
that's cool.
and that's just cool. Always cool. So no, those are great. And luckily, going back to our Collins Hill days, you talk about, surrounding yourself with great people. When I first started at Collins Hill, I chose to be a part of the defense.
Right.
When I was like, hey, if you want a job, you can coach football. I was like, I played in 9th grade. They're like, great, you can coach 9th grade.
Right.
And it was you, Wells,
Yep.
Pierce, David Stevens, and I was
Yep.
like, I've met these guys. I like them. And then I realized I picked the one that showed up at 8 a.m. and left at 8 p.m., when,
Right.
no offense, but I tell the story often, the offense would roll in at 1.
That's right.
After
That's right.
church, they were,
That's right.
they'd roll in and we'd already been there 5 or 6 hours. And I'm like, I'm going to have to go to the offense here. But good people. And you didn't mind going to work because the people were so great to work with. And I think too, as a head coach, you can orchestrate your staff and, and it is not always about X's and O's or, all the stuff. More times than not, it's about kids or coaches that kids want to be around also,
Correct.
That kind. So, I love that. And getting able to, make these relationships, get to come back years later and reminisce some. So kind of leads me into the last question I always have for everybody is, Coach Dooley's list is set up to kind of hopefully make coaches' lives a little bit easier. And I got here today, and I'm going to have to get
looking
some
good.
Some
He's
running
looking
tips
good
in this. But I got my Branch XC shirt here, and you got this from somewhere.
And, I always ask coaches, what is, who are some vendors that you would love to shout out? Maybe if somebody called you and said, Coach, I need new uniforms, or I need this, or I need that. Like, who are some that you love to work with that you would recommend to your coaching buddies?
Well, BSN, we are a BSN school, so we have phenomenal relationship with them. Gina Pilcher at Garments and Gifts is kind of my personal cloth person. Cotton Eye Joe's has done our signage all over the school. And then my guy at Tony McIntyre at All American Specialties, and then of course Todd Sims at Scholastic Images. He and I were able to create magic together with 9, 10, 11 different championship rings that we were able to do together. And he's the guy. He's the guy for Letterman jacket, for senior stuff, for patches, and his character is above. He's the best.
Yeah, he was my ninth grade baseball coach at the Hill back in the day. And all of those are on the website, except Garments and Gifts. So I'll get that information from in. And then again, all the vendors he just mentioned will be in the comments on wherever you're seeing this video. Put them down there. But again, check the website out. Find the vendors that you need. Everybody on the website has been referred by coaches. They can't buy their way on there, so that's how we work. But Coach, man, I appreciate it. I can sit and talk to you all day.
This was a blast.
We'll have to come back for round 2 one day.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yep.